All right, so I'm recording the meeting so that we can share the contents of this meeting with other parents. I am going to begin by giving you an update as it relates to the ministry's policy regarding the reopening of school. So I know you may have heard over the last few days that the Ministry of Education, well, first of all, a few weeks ago, they would have started the reopening of schools by having 17 schools across the island reopening. So that was a pilot project that ended last week, Friday. Um, and they have now said that there are 109 other schools that have been inspected and that they find that those 109 schools across the island, the findings are that those schools are in a state of readiness. And if the schools are prepared to resume, they would allow those 109 schools to reopen. They have not yet indicated exactly which date. Well, States is among those 109 schools. They have not yet indicated which date exactly we will get permission to resume. What they have done is to ensure that the inspections of the school plans are would have been done by the Ministry of Health. They would have analyzed the communities from where the students come and see how the virus is in those communities, if there's a spread or if it's under control, and if there is going to be a high risk for students to travel from those communities where our students live. So all of that would have been done, and it was deemed that we are one of the schools that can reopen based on all of those factors. So the next thing that happened was that we had a meeting on Wednesday with the Ministry of Education and the minister to have a discussion about our readiness based on what we think as opposed to what they would have found out from their investigations. Our position from us, the school board at States, the teachers, and the general staff is that we believe that we are in a position to resume school, right? We would have worked out our protocols, the rules around how schools should function. We have done, you would have noticed, we have been sending out questionnaires. We've been putting in place plans for our students to get to and from school safely. And therefore, we believe that we are in a position to have some of our students return. What we are thinking is that our grade 11 students and our sixth form students, oh, let me just pause a bit. Included in our discussions was a meeting that we had with CXC. So we had a meeting with CXC 2 weeks ago where they indicated to us what their plans are, when the exams are going to be scheduled, if there's going to be any changes to SBAs and the exam format and so on. So what CXC is proposing is that they are going to be delaying the exams by a month from where it normally is. So normally exams start at the beginning of May. CXC is proposing that they want to start the exam in mid-June. So rather than you normally maths, English, and the business subjects would start as early as the first or second week, the latest of May. They are now saying that they are thinking of doing the exam starting in June, the 14th of June. However, they want the exams to go back to the normal format. So it will not be like last year where it was multiple choice only. It will be the traditional CXC exams with long paper, short paper, and the SBAs. They have shared with us some changes that will be done to a few of the SBAs, particularly the science SBAs. And I know the teachers will share with the students. So we also had a meeting with CXC, and based on what CXC is saying to us, we believe that it's important that the grade 11 and sixth form students are re-engaged as soon as possible, right? So grade 11 and sixth formers, we believe that it's important for them to resume so that they can get work done on their SBAs. They can get to cover the syllabus because CXC is saying as well that they are not changing the syllabus. They are not going to reduce the syllabus content. We have to get the entire syllabus covered. We have made suggestions as to how the exam should be set that they say that they are willing to consider, but the exams will be set on the entire syllabus. So we have to make the effort to cover as much as possible of the syllabus. So, right, so our thinking is that we need to get in our grade 11 and sixth form students as soon as possible. We believe that the greatest risk involved in getting them here is the transportation from where they live to school, because the use of public transportation and having them having to travel with the general public to stand at the taxi stands or the bus parks where there are crowds and so on is a little bit risky. So we have been discussing this with our transport providers, and I've also spoken to the minister about trying to help us with that arrangement. Um, so far, I had sent out a survey on Friday, I think, to ask students to respond. When I checked this morning before I left for Kingston, we had 580 responses. I expect 760 responses. So we still have a few persons who have not responded to the survey. We want the survey to be done because that will tell us where the students are going to be traveling from and where we need to put the buses to get enough buses on each of the routes for the students. In terms of time, when do we intend to resume? To start. Right now, I'm definitely not sure. I met with the ministry yesterday as well, yesterday afternoon. They went through the checklist, and based on the checklist they have, we have everything in place so that we could possibly start on Monday, right? However, we can't start on Monday because we need to communicate with you and they need to sign off on it. So right now, I am thinking of us getting our grade 11 sixth form students to come in starting this Wednesday. All right, so starting this Wednesday, we would have them come in for the rest of the week. By Monday afternoon, I'll be able to confirm if it's going to be possible. But right now, we are thinking that all grade 11 and sixth form students will come in on Wednesday. The one thing that I have to also work out is the arrangement for the buses. So between tonight and tomorrow, I'll be looking at the numbers that I've gotten from the responses from the grade 11 students to determine how many buses will need to be put on each route, what the fare is going to be, and how we'll work out that. So by tomorrow night, I should be able to send out something to the bus drivers so that we can put in place something for them to start transporting. Let me mute all.
Yeah.
Right, so by Monday morning, I should be able to communicate back with the bus drivers to say, all right, these are the routes that the students are on. I want one bus on this route or two buses on this route, and we pick up from X place at 7 o'clock or at whatever time, and then I will communicate that information with you. So right now, I am just sharing that piece of information with you. I don't necessarily want to share all the details yet because not everything is concrete. Hopefully by Monday evening, we could have another meeting, but I'm just making you aware from now. And so if there are any questions or concerns you have, you can raise them now so that we can get them addressed in time for Monday evening. So I'm going to open up the floor, and if anybody wants to raise any questions or concerns, you can just raise your hand and go ahead. So any questions from anybody? All right, Tiffany, you can unmute and go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, parents
Good
and
afternoon.
teachers. Sir, when school opens back on Wednesday, will we be able to wear uniform or casual clothing?
Uniform, we expect you to wear uniform, but if your uniform is not ready, if you have outgrown the uniform with too much weight, then you could wear for the rest of the week, you could wear the casual, the school shirt and the jeans until the following week. But the grooming has to be in place. So the boys, those plait up things and something that you wear for the parties now, the party time is done and we're getting back down to business. All right, Tiffany. Any other questions or comments? Shanique, you can unmute and go ahead now.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, if school opens back on Wednesday, will we still be using the devices at school?
Well, you'll have your regular classes. So you won't necessarily it won't be online classes, put it that way. You'll have your face-to-face classes, but of course you still need the devices, right? Because, for example, we may have a few students who will not be able to attend. So the teachers will still be required to post information in their Google Classrooms. But it would be face-to-face classes at school. And we'd be using your regular timetables. All right. That answers your question, Shanique. Elizabeth. Elizabeth.
Good afternoon, sir. In your discussion with the bus drivers, being as if there is only going to be the grade 11 and the 6 formers, are they okay with the smaller number of students that they would be carrying?
Yes, they don't have any choice. They don't have any choice on the matter. The arrangement we are putting in place, by the way, is that we're looking at well, the numbers. They have to do the testing before the student comes on the bus, and the sanitizing before they come on the bus. We'll be monitoring the buses, and what we're looking at is to have make an arrangement for the students to buy the ticket for the bus at school, and the school pays the drivers. So if they're not complying, we won't pay them. All right, so we'd ask the students will not pay the drivers directly or the parents, but would pay the fares at the school, get a ticket to go on the bus, and we would determine how many persons are going on each bus.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Somebody asked about grades. When we resume, it is going to be normal school, which means all the school rules are you have to be in compliance. While we will relax a little bit for those first 3 days of the week, 3 days next week. We expect that by the following week, people are going to be in compliance. All right. If school reopens on Monday, we'll go to the end of the term, which is the 18th of December. All right, so Christmas term is going to break we're going to break on the 18th of December. I know some persons may look at it, so why we resume for just the two weeks or 2.5 weeks? It is important. Every single time that we can get now is important. Some persons may figure that it's best they just wait until January, but I think that it's important that we get in as much time as we can. There are some students as well who have not been attending their classes as regularly as they should. Up to yesterday, Thursday night I called a parent to ask her to send our child to school Friday because he's doing 4 CAPE subjects and has only been to about 3 classes. Well, not 3 subjects now. He has only attended classes about 3 times in 6th form. Right, so we have students like, and he's not alone. So we have students like that who we figure we need to meet them in person to ensure that they are serious and getting what needs to be done. We also need to meet them before Christmas break so that we can give them things that they need to get done on their own during the Christmas break. All right. Question about chartered buses being on regular routes. Again, if you look at the surveys that I've sent out, you'll notice that we have a list of routes. Those are the routes that the buses will be on, which are basically all the regular ones. So yes, Goshen to Longwood will have a bus coming from Gutters to Santa Cruz. So yes, if you're at Goshen or Longwood, the bus can pick you up there as well. All right. Sixth form and grade 11 students we are talking about, so they'll both resume classes on Wednesday. Right now we are saying Wednesday. We'll confirm on Monday if Wednesday is a go, right? But we are hoping that it's Wednesday. If it's not Wednesday, then it's definitely the following Monday, the 7th of December. But we are thinking of this Wednesday for the sixth form and grade 11 students, because we want to bring in small groups of students from the other grade levels to come in the following week. Somebody saying that they did not receive the survey. Can you ask one of your friends who is in the sixth form or grade 11 groups to send you the survey? It should also be in your Google form rooms. Will we be getting end of term exams? No. We will not be doing any end of term exams. We're looking at February before we do the midterm, well, the mid-sessional or the end of term exams. So we will not be doing the end of term exams now. Grade 11 student who is on path, is he required to pay full fare on the bus? Everybody is going to be expected to pay the same fare, which is the regular fare. What, as I said, what I've asked is that we've asked the ministry if they are able to give us a subsidy, but we have not yet gotten a response from them on that yet. And we also know that the cost that what you will pay will not be able to pay the busmen, because as the parent asked earlier, they will be carrying smaller numbers. So we are making arrangements to help cover the expenses. That is why we're saying pay for the tickets at school, and then we will pay the bus driver the cost of the bus for the week, right? But each child will have to make their contribution. And if we are not having the numbers on the bus that we have budgeted for, then obviously we will have to take the buses off the route. However, we are not allowing students to take the general public transport where we have a bus on the route. We're not allowing students to come in by taking other vehicles to come in, because that is going to put other persons at risk. So unless a student, for example, if there's a bus that students have arrangement with from, let us say, Eldersley, and we don't have a bus from Eldersley, that bus can come in with those students from Eldersley. But we'll be having a bus from Magati, so it means that the persons at Newton and Tombstone and those areas, you're all expected to take the same bus to come to school each day. All right. Is it Miguez Simpson? You can unmute and go ahead. So Miguez, unmute and go. Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Would there still be online class even when school is open?
When school reopens for grade 11 and 6 forms, all classes will be face-to-face once face-to-face classes, but there are going to be times when, for example, not for 6 formers, by the way, Miguez. So 6 formers will have face-to-face classes. The teachers can arrange online classes outside of the face-to-face, but our regular schedule, the regular schedule will be face-to-face. For grade 11 students, after that first 3 days, the grade 11 students will come in 3 days per week where they have face-to-face, and the other 2 days will be online. So we will provide a schedule that tells you when you have face-to-face and when you have online, right? But for 6 formers, yes, Miguel?
Yes, sir. I'm saying that I'm living in Kingston now,
yeah,
sir.
I know that, and I know that your situation, so I'm suggesting you speak with Mrs. Holness. All right, but
okay,
okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, will there be bus on the New Market route? Yes. Bus on the Treasure Beach? Yes. All of those routes, all the routes that normally have a bus on it, there will be buses on those routes. Plus, well, most of our routes have buses, but we have identified all the major routes. I think Barbary Hall, you may have to go to Black River to get the bus. All right? Or you could come to Watchwell. You could come to Watchwell to get a bus. All right? Again, the surveys have been put out. I'm going to ask the grade 11 form teachers again to send it in their groups tonight. So if you have not gotten it, just call your friend and ask them to send the link to you. All right? Shania, you can unmute and go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Would the grade 11 students be doing end of term exams?
No, I just answered that to say no, you will no exams. We are not doing any exams, any internal exams until possibly the end of January going into February. But you will have grades, you will have to have grades. So the internal grades from your online classes will be recorded. All right. All right, Shania. All right. Charmaine, pray you can unmute and go ahead.
Good night. For a student living in Nain, where would he catch the bus?
Student living in Nain, there will be a bus that goes through Nain. So there will be a junction, Nain, Warminster, Myersville bus. So it's on the main route. Remember, we can't come into every single corner. So it will be on the main routes. Right? And again, the routes you check the survey, the routes are clearly defined. Right? And we ask you to indicate where you would take the bus in that route, right? And there will be a schedule to tell you what time the bus is going to be in each area. Cape students will attend school on the days they have classes. If your parent has a personal vehicle, they can take you to school, and we'd be happy with that. All right, so personal drop-offs and pickups would be great. Akeelia, unmute and go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I am from back Elders side, sir. More over to St. James, sir, and there's very few of us, sir, from back this side.
Yes, yes.
So, sir, we have a bus, sir, that brings us to and from school, sir. So I'm asking, sir, if that bus would be okay to bring us to school.
It will be okay. It will be okay once you make the arrangement. And you normally get here very early. You're normally first ones to get here, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, so that's fine with us. If everybody, what we don't want, by the way, is students mixing up with each other. But if you're coming from the same community and if you're from states, then we'll work with it, right? But we don't want people mixing up with all people from different schools and different communities. All right?
Okay, sir.
All right. The person named Cartel, can you write your proper name for me? Change your name to change your name to your student name for me. Thank you. But go ahead.
Good night, sir. Will I be allowed back on campus to attend school, sir?
Because of your situation, yes. Yes, because of your situation. All right. Any other questions? Let me see if there are. I'm living in Dalton, about 5 miles from Myersville. Passing Warminster, it would be difficult to get to the assembly point in the mornings and back to home. The person who lives in Dalton, how do you normally get to school? Can you raise your hand, let me unmute you and you answer, or you can type in the chat. If you live in Dalton, how do you normally get to school? All right, any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? I'm going to do a poll, and just one question. I'm going to post it and it's going to pop up on your screen. You can just answer the question and submit it for me, all right? So I'm going to Caroline, you can unmute and go ahead. It's Caroline. Caroline, unmute and go ahead, please. Caroline doesn't want to speak. Any other question? Any other question?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Wellington.
Good evening.
I'm Xavier's mom. I'm Xavier's mom, Caroline, and we're living in Montpelier.
Yes.
So would Xavier go to the scheme?
If he lives in Montpelier. If he lives in Montpelier, he could
Yes, sir, Montpelier housing scheme.
So he could either take the bus at Gutters, come to Gutters and take it, or he could come by on the main road and take one of the buses coming from Alligator upon our junction.
Okay then, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Let me just type this poll question and you save. All right. Just give me 1 second. Just 1 second, let me publish the poll so that you can. All right. All right. All right, just give me, I think I've messed up somewhere here. Oh. All right, good. So there's a poll on. You can just answer the question when you get the chance to. All right, this is Ligavia. You can unmute and go ahead with your question or comment.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am asking because I live in Dalton. I live in Dalton and you said bus is coming Junction in. It would be hard for me to go to Marysville in the morning, sir.
Yes, yes.
Because I would have to take a taxi and that is the same money I would have to pay that I would pay to go.
Yes. But you could, all right, so you could either come to Santa Cruz, we'll understand because based on the number of students in Dalton, we couldn't send a vehicle up there. So you could either come directly to school, right? So you'll get a pass that allows you to come on. Or you could go to, I think Southfield may not be bad, Kincaid or Monroe. All right, so you can decide which one of the options you want. All right? Sorry?
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right. Somebody asked, they said they came on late. So we're looking at grade 11 and 6th form students resuming classes on Wednesday. And they would come in for the 3 days for the rest of the week. And then the following 2 weeks, leading up to the 18th of December, when we give Christmas holidays, they would come to school 3 days per week. All right. All right, any students who have comorbidities, meaning they have illnesses that put them at risk, we are not forcing any student at all to come to school. So that is a decision that has to rest with the parents. What we don't want is that students who are at home and are ill, they are not going to be allowed on campus if they are currently feeling ill. But if you have a comorbidity and you are comfortable coming to school and practicing the proper protocols, then we don't have any problem. We prefer everybody has to take responsibility for themselves. But if you are unable to come because you have a particular comorbidity, of course, you have to share that with your teachers so that arrangements can be made so that some of the information that you'll be missing out on would be shared with you. All right? All right. Somebody says they're living in Westmoreland. So to get a bus to come to school, I'll have to take about 3 taxis to get to a route bus where a bus will be placed. I don't know where in Westmoreland, where is Westmoreland, but of course that person has to speak with us, speak with your form teacher directly. We may have a bus from White House. So that's as far, we'll go as far as White House. Abraham District, that means well, I don't know where, if you live in Abraham, Marsha, where would you come out to take the vehicle? You'll probably take 1 taxi to go and come directly to school. All right, so that may not be, the communities around Santa Cruz where you can't walk from, right? Where you take one taxi, that is fine as well. All right, Roxy, Jade, you can unmute and go ahead. Jade, you're unmuted, so you may go ahead. The persons who are asking about what time, you'll just have to wait until we publish the time. I wouldn't be able to tell everybody what time their bus is going to come. So we will be publishing the times for each of the bus routes. But obviously, it will be on time for you to get to school by 8:15 each morning, all right? And we won't be having the general devotions, so we will make the arrangements for you to come so that you can start classes on time. Jade, you were unmuted, but you're not speaking, so I'm going to mute you back and ask Roxine. So Roxine, you can unmute and go ahead.
Sir, I got the answer to the question I was wondering about.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Roger, Roger, can you raise back your hand if you wanted to speak? Yeah, you can go ahead now, unmute and go ahead, yeah?
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I haven't heard anything. Will there be a bus for Santa Cruz to Mandeville, even though there's not a lot of us here?
Well, we have Mandeville on the route, but again, it depends. We can't send the smallest bus available would be a 20-seater. So if we don't have 15 students from Mandeville, then obviously we wouldn't be able to send a bus, so we'll have to excuse you. But again, part of the issue we still have 100+ students, almost 200 students who have not responded to the survey. We need a survey because it is a survey that will tell us where the students are and where we need to put the buses. So again, if you got the link, just share it with everybody in your class so that they get to fill out the form. Leeds, Malvern, yes, there will be a bus that travels from Monroe, at least one bus that comes right down, and we'll make sure that the buses are appropriately marked. And that is also one of the reasons why you need to be in uniform so that the busmen know who to stop for. Persons living in Flaggerman, yes. So we'll have a bus coming from Lower Southfield, coming down through Flaggerman to come around Mountainside. Again, all of this information is on the link that was sent. If you have not gotten the link, ask your friends to send it to you. We send it out via WhatsApp, right? And 560 odd persons have already responded. 580 odd of the 760 odd grade 10, 11, and 6th form students. So if you have not got it, more than likely your friend has seen it. So ask them to send the WhatsApp link to you so that you can respond to it. Right, and that is how we will know where to send the buses and how many persons are on each route. All right. All right, so that answers your question, Roger. Any other question? Any other questions or comments? Remember, we may arrange a meeting for Monday evening just to finalize the arrangements, but I want to make, I wanted to put you on alert so that you could make the arrangements. How many days will 6th formers attend school? 6th formers attend school whenever they have classes. So if you have classes only 3 days, you come 3 days. If you have all 5 days, you come 5 days. Siloa will have a bus from Siloa. So, well, it's Siloa, yeah, from Siloa. So Thornton people would have to get to Siloa. Grade 10, we're looking to get in grade 10 starting the week of December 7th. All right. And by the way, we know that some persons are busy at work, some people on construction sites, some people at restaurants, some people working at pharmacy. You have to give that up now. All right, and get back to your core responsibility unless you want to be working $20,000 a month for the rest of your life. All right? So if you don't plan to be working $20,000 and $30,000 a month, you need to come and secure your future. The bus routes, we're in Treasure Beaches, the bus routes will provide that information. We're going to be using some of the same buses that you normally use. So when those of you who normally take these buses, it will be the same buses. It's just that we're making the arrangements ourselves now. All right. The price for the buses would be the same price as you normally pay. All right. Bus passing through Top Hill, yes. If that's a Top Hill, if that's a Southfield, Top Hill, Ballard Valley, yes, there will be a bus. Any other questions? Let me just remind you as well, I think Mrs. Holness was not able to make the meeting today, but please remember 6th formers and grade 11 students should be checking their entries. Also reminding you, if you are not doing maths and English at CXC or maths or English, we expect you to do City and Guilds maths and English. And there's a diagnostic test that is being administered for the City and Guilds. So all grade 11 students, you must do CXC maths and English. And if you are not doing it, then you must do City and Guilds. Right? So if you have not been signed up for those and you haven't passed it yet, please find out from Mrs. Holness when they are going to do the next diagnostic test. And we maybe will arrange for you to do it when you come back on Wednesday. Yes, there'll be a bus passing through Bogue. Right, so Balaclava, Bogue, Braes River, yes, there'll be a bus. Once we have enough students on these routes, we will have a bus on the route. All right, Crystal, you said the bus your traveler doesn't mention your district on the route. What district, what route? When will you pay the school for the bus? You will pay each day at the ticket office and get your ticket to go on the bus in the evenings. So the mornings when you come on, the Wednesday morning when you come, somebody will be at the drop-off area to collect and hand you, somebody will be there on hand to collect your fare for that morning. And then you can also purchase a ticket for the evening return trip. Yeah, man, Georgie, we have already spoken with Georgie, so don't worry about that. Brompton Road, the White House bus will be White House and Brompton. So White House, Crawford, Brompton. Claremont, where's Claremont Park? Claremont Park is, where's Claremont Park, Crystal? So we have 158 persons online. 142 has answered the poll question. So we have about 16 persons who did not answer the poll. So you can answer the question. So far, 132 persons says they are ready for school. They want to resume. 11 persons say they don't want to. All right. So 132 of the 144 says that they want to. 12 persons now say they don't want to resume. All right. How can you get Troy to sign up? Just let him talk to Mrs. Holness when he comes to school. All right. As a matter of fact, we want to register everybody who is not registered. If you are registered, if you get the subsidy for maths and English at CXC, then you will have to pay for it at City and Guilds if you want to do it at City and Guilds. If you did not get the subsidy for maths and English at CXC, then you will get the subsidy for City and Guilds. Rosal, the Rosal persons would come to Junction unless we have enough persons in the Rosal area, then we'll put a bus there. So that's why, again, that is why it's important that you answer the survey. So if you have not yet answered the survey, please answer so that we have all the data so that we can make the arrangements. Yes, you can get a bus park for the week, a bus pass for the week. All right, yes, we could provide you with a bus park pass that can be used for the week. All All right, so we can do bus passes for the week. All right. All right, any other questions? Remember, we may be doing this again Monday night, just to make sure that everybody's aware. I'll be posting the video online so that persons who are not here can get the information. iPhone, you can unmute and go ahead. iPhone? Yes, sir.
Good night, sir. You hear me, sir?
Yeah, yes, I'm hearing you.
It's Damon, sir.
Yes, Damon.
Kind of a bit late, sir. So I don't know which days could be open. Or
We are not
what the
sure yet,
meeting
but
is.
we are thinking Wednesday.
Oh, all right, thanks.
Have you invited your students to your function tomorrow?
Of course, sir. It has been posted on all social media platforms.
All right, you can post the link in the chat.
Okay.
All right. Tonian, you can unmute and go ahead.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Sir, I'm living in Southampton, sir. So
Mhm.
I would, in the morning, I would walk to the main road to meet the bus from Maysville direction.
Yes.
But I was wondering in the evening if I could take taxi to go home because if the bus is going back that side, sir, I would want to walk to go up so many hills, sir, from the main road to get home, sir. So I was wondering if I could take taxi to get over.
All right. So bearing in mind how you have been locked up, I assume, for the last 8 months, and I'm sure you probably put on 10 pounds. Maybe now is the time to get rid of it. But let us have that discussion in your form class.
Okay.
All right, when the time comes. All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Grades will only be allowed until the 7th of December. So you have 1 more week. We need to get you back into student mode. All right, so the braids will only allow the braids until the 7th of December. So we're giving you a week to sort yourself out. If you can do both CXC and City and Guilds, yes, but you're not going to get subsidy for both. So you'll only get subsidy for either CXC or City and Guilds. So if you get for one, you have to pay for the other. All right, any other questions or comments? Good to see 155 persons responded to the poll. So 141 says they are ready. That's 91%, which is very good. 14 says they don't want to resume. That's 9%. Those 9%, obviously, we would need to have a conversation with you individually. You can always send me a message to say what your concern is, and we look at if it's a concern that can be addressed. But it's very important that we get back to face-to-face activities, especially for those students who are doing practicals. You have no way of avoiding your SBAs being done face-to-face. All right? But we understand if some persons are still uncomfortable. Any other questions? It's now 2 minutes to 7. I would love to finish at 7. So if there are no other questions, are phones allowed? Yes, we will allow phones for the time being. However, there are going to be rules around phones, and this time the only person who's going to be allowed to confiscate phones is Mr. Wellington. And you know that when Mr. Wellington confiscates phones, they are not returned. So phones, yes, they will be allowed, not to make calls. So no calls, absolutely no phone calls will be allowed, all right? And of course, no use in class unless under the supervision of a teacher, all right? Akeelia, can unmute now and go ahead.
Sir, I'm straying from topic a little bit now, sir. Sir, what about the graduation ceremony, sir? About the survey that they sent
Yes.
out
You know, I think we took a
recently
decision.
about the ceremony for
The function, right? We took a decision on Friday that if we did not get enough responses by Monday morning, we would not go ahead with it in December, or we may have to look at another time because we had only gotten about 80 odd responses up to Thursday evening. So some of the students seems not to have gotten the link. But one thing we are sure of, we're not going to let you leave states and don't have something for you. So if those who are not here, even if it means it's March, but we will have something. Obviously, when I said that the phones are not, sorry, Akila, that was the question? Right, so it looks like I've answered Akila's question. Let me clarify, let me be explicit. Phones will not be used to have, you will not be allowed to use your phones to have conversations via telephone calls. So to receive or make calls will be illegal during school hours. So the phone can only be used as a device to assist in the online classes. All right, we don't want any chaos on campus, so you can conduct your other businesses during school time. All right. Yes, man. The boys, I did say that the boys are expected to cut their hair, well, to groom their hair as expected by the school rules. All right. We are going back to school, so we're going back to as normal as we possibly can. All right. Any other? All right, iPhone has raised this hand again. You can unmute and go ahead.
So, sir, Damon again, sir. Hearing me?
Yes, Damon, I'm hearing you.
So, like the December break is coming up, sir, as our main holiday. So, why we have to really trim our hair, sir? And it's a holiday coming up on us.
No, man, the first thing is that it is a holiday in the middle of a school time. That's number one. Number two, just to make sure you understand the implications and the seriousness of the situation, we don't want anybody in any party mood for Christmas. So half our young people in our country who are planning for party and spread COVID, we are going to cut to here so that you understand it's school time and you can go party. So that one, as a student leader, as a prospective student leader, please help me to share the message that it is business time. And the biggest, one of the reasons why we are trying hard to get you to come back for these 2.5 weeks is that we know that the risk of the spread increasing after Christmas is very high. So we may resume now, and when January comes, we cannot come back to school because of the way some of you may have behaved over the Christmas break, and there may be a spread. So that is why we want to make use of the 2.5 weeks that will be left before the Christmas break. So we want to get you in that type of mood as well.
All right, Mr. Wallet, another question for you, sir. Some of the females has asked me to ask you, what about their piercing that they have just done? If they will be allowed to. Yeah.
They have to take it out.
All right, sir.
These are, I'm not laughing, no, these are good questions because we know that they have some persons who are pregnant. We know that we have some persons who are working. We know that we have some persons doing all kinds of stuff because they're not in a school mode anymore. We know all of that. None of you say we don't know all of that, right? So we have a responsibility to get you back into the mode where you can do the best that you can and you can focus on the things that are going to contribute to your well-being. So we know everything that you think we don't know, we know. All right? And so we are going to ensure that persons come back to school. As a matter of fact, we know that some persons not coming back to school. I can put it that way. And we know that the longer we wait, the more likely that some more not going to come back to school. For all the reasons I mentioned before, plus other reasons. right? And we're not going to try to make it difficult for persons to come back to school, but we want to make sure that when they come back, we come back for the right reasons. All right? All right, any other questions? Any other questions? All right, so we want, you know what, I am proud of the students and the parents. I think that while we're having our difficulties and our challenges, I think over the last, I would even say the last 3 months, from March until now, I think as a school, we are doing very well. Students, parents, teachers, and the school in general, because I go around the country, I talk to all the principals, I know what is happening elsewhere, and I know that in comparison to many others, we are doing exceptionally well. And I want to commend you the students and you the parents, but at the end of the day, what counts is how we end it all, right? So we want to make sure we are doing our part. Our teachers, many teachers don't want school to reopen. As a matter of fact, we hear JTA president or former president cussing some principals for reopening school or agreeing to reopen school, saying that we want to look better than other principals. But the truth is, we know how much it costs you. We know the sacrifices you are making. We know that some persons are suffering. And so even amongst our staff, our teachers, right? Our teachers, some teachers elsewhere don't want school to reopen, right? And our teachers have agreed that they think that it is best that we reopen. So we don't want it to be a case where some persons are making the sacrifices and some people think it's a joke thing or a fashion show thing or them something, right? We want to make it business and a business that is profitable for you, the students, meaning that you benefit from it, right? So we are doing what we can to make sure that everybody benefits from the exercise. All right? And of course, I'm asking you to ensure that your colleagues who are not able to be here, they get the information. So I'll share the video. And as I said before, if I get the go-ahead from the ministry on Monday, then I will have another meeting Monday evening just to wrap up everything. I remember, of course, I'm going to send out the protocols, the physical distance, the distancing, the mask wearing, those things are compulsory, right? We have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars making sure that the school is in a state of readiness. We want to make sure that when you come, you play your role to make us a model school. I can tell you the Ministry of Health has already said that where their inspections are concerned, States is the best school. And if states can't open, no school can open, right? But what is going to make the difference now is how you behave when you're at school. Yeah, man, we said that the hair grooming, you're getting all of this week. All of this week. So the grooming of the hair, you can come modestly dressed and out of uniform and so on this week if we resume on Wednesday. But by the following Monday, that's the 7th, then you will have to be with this back to the normal school standard. So yes, we have online classes Monday and Tuesday. You want to ask excuse to go and cut your hair and go to the hairdresser, ask your teachers. Ask your teachers for that permission. All right. All right, Crystal. The pickup times for the buses will be published. I said that already. All right. All right, remember, I just drove in from Kingston. I left out 6:30 this morning and I've been in meetings from 9 o'clock this morning. So at 7:08, I really want to end now. So if there's no other burning question, we can't wait until Monday. I want to thank you very much because the main purpose was to share the information with you regarding the possible reopening of school. Sir, you're not going to penalize tight pants, of course. If your pants too tight because you put on weight, then wear jeans for the first week and carry the tight pants come. Let me give Miss McKnight and Miss Webb to fix up for you. But no tight pants, normal school. So if you get fat, or you can come in and we can arrange for you to do some work on the play field to get off the weight. All right. All right, so thank you. Thank you very much. So that's the poll results. 150% says they are ready. 17 say they are not. All right, Nicole, you are very late. The meeting has actually ended. Possible reopening of school is on Wednesday of this week for grade 11 and 6th form students. Can you call somebody who is on the meeting for them to share the information with you? And I will also post the video of this meeting in the group shortly, later tonight. So I will send around in the grade 11 WhatsApp and 6th form WhatsApp group so you can watch the meeting, but I can't have the meeting twice, right? And Demone is having a live Instagram thing tomorrow. If Demone, explain what it is for me, please. Put up your hand, let me unmute you, and then you can explain. And all right, Demone, unmute and explain what is it you're having.
All right, so good night again, my fellow schoolmates. So the States Alumni presents the second edition of Students Check-In tomorrow live at Instagram, 8 p.m. And there will be a rap battle between past students from the 90s versus students from who started States rather, 2000. And there will also be a special guest. Pardon?
2000 onwards, so not just the year 2000, anytime from 2000 if you start States.
Yeah. 2000 and onwards, so like we and persons back then. And there will also be a special guest, so stay tuned. See you guys tomorrow. Hope to see you all. Lot of fun, excitement, phone card giveaways. You can't afford to miss it, so please be there. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for joining the meeting. And as I said, I will post the information in the group so you can share it with the others who are not here. If they ask you what happened, just tell them to watch the video. All right? Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.